Hey guys, welcome to Nigra Techies. In this video, I'm going to cover Angular 14 CRUD operations using json-server REST API and reactive forms with Angular Material UI. Before going to the implementation, let me provide the short demo. This is my screen. Here I just populated the company data. For this table, I used the Material UI. Here I have implemented this sorting functionality and also the pagination. First, let me create one new record. So this pop-up also designed using this Material UI. Currently, you can see the text is add company. The first field ID is disabled. So if I'm clicking the save, it's not going to allow anything because we have the validation. Let me provide the name and this employee count, revenue, and this is active field. It's defaultly checked. Now let me click the save button. See now I'm got the message like saved successfully, and the new record also got included. See now, and if you noted in this revenue column, I just included this pipe currency and we loaded all the information. Now let me try to edit this one. See now, currently we are able to see this ID is 8, but it's not an editable. Other things we supposed to edit. Let me change this name. I'm going to include this private. That's it. So let me save it. See now, the updated successfully message is coming, and also the text also got updated. Now if I'm trying to change this employee count, currently it's in 44. I'm going to give 46. See now it's automatically gets updated. Now I am going to delete this record. So if I'm clicking this delete button, I'm able to see this confirmation box. So here I have two options. If I'm clicking this OK, so the record got deleted, company removed successfully, and also it's removed from our table. Okay, great. Now we successfully completed our demo. Let me start the implementation. Okay, this is my created application. Initially, I have one small change. I just included this text. Welcome to Nigra Techies. You can see in this output. Okay, great. Now we can create the component. So our first component is company. Okay, our component is created. So let me go to the component. So let me include here. Okay, the text is company versus coming. So instead of this p tag, I am going to use this h2. I am going to create my second component. Pop-up. This is for implementing our pop-up screen. Okay, this one also gets created. Now I'm going to create the service. Okay, this service also created. Here the spec file is not required, so let me remove it. Okay, great. Now I'm going to create my model. So let me create one folder. Export interface. Here I am going to define my all properties. So the final one is active. Okay, the model is defined. Now let me go to the component. So in the component, I am going to define our table first. Here I am going to use the directory of mat table and then data source. So let me define our data source here. So let me bind it. And let me add the class. And next we have to define our columns. Display columns. So the first column is ID, second one is name. The similar way I'm going to define all the columns. So the final one is action. So this is for including our delete and edit button. Now let me go to the HTML side. Here we can define our columns. So our first column is ID. Then let me define our th section. So here you can provide your own name. So it's just like a for loop. And let me use the interpolation concept here. Element.id. The similar way I am going to define all the columns. The second one is name. And the third one is count. I mean the employee count. So the final two are one is active and another one is action. Okay, we have included two anchor buttons. So let me include this material event directory. Mat raised button, color, primary. So similar way, let me copy this one. Okay, great. We have done the basic changes, and the very important thing is if you are using this material UI, for every component you have to import the particular models. Okay, so for that already I have created one custom model, material model. This material model I just imported in my app model. Okay, so hereafter what are the components I am trying to use? I supposed to include all the models in this material model. So let me complete this section. So already I have included this form field and the input, and a similar way I'm going to use this table. In this table I'm going to use the property of paginator and this sort. For the pop-up I'm going to use this dialog and button, checkbox. Okay, so let me change these models also. Mat table model, mat pagination model. The similar way I'm going to include all the models. Okay, the similar way we have to include this export section also. Okay, great. We have included the most of the components. If you missed something, we can include a little later. Now let me go to the HTML side. Here actually the mat table should be like this, and also this data source S should be in caps, and also I missed one more thing, the footer section, mat header row, mat header row def. So the display column we already defined. The similar way, one more thing. So this is for data row. So let row columns the same one. So let me save it and we can check. Okay, currently we don't have any build error. Okay, something is coming because we don't have any data and the design also not looks good. So let me include some class changes here. So the first one is, it should be width. So the design you have to manage in your own way. Okay, now it's somewhat fine. So let me include the button for adding the new records. Create new. The button is the mat raised button. So this is just a directive from our Angular material UI. Okay, this is fine. So when I'm clicking this button, I'm going to open this pop-up. So let me bind the event here. Open pop-up. So let me define it. Now in the constructor, I'm going to inject this mat dialog. Now let me open the pop-up. Here the first input is component. So that's what we have created, the pop-up component. And other things are just a property. The width I am going to provide 500 pixel, and the animation, so exit animation duration 1000 milliseconds. The same way I'm going to provide enter animation duration also 1000 milliseconds, and the final one is data. So this data section is mainly used for when we are doing the editing, we're supposed to pass the key value. Here also I'm going to pass the empty parameter, that's it. Now let me click this button. Okay, great. The pop-up is opened. So currently I have the two important things. One is defining my form design, and the second one is defining our reactive forms. So first I'm going to define the reactive forms. For defining this reactive form, I'm going to use the form builder. So let me inject this one. Builder.group. Okay, we just defined our form. Now let me include all the properties. So the default value is empty, and this ID field should be disabled. And the second one is name. Default value is empty. And also I'm going to include this required field validation. The similar way I am going to define all the fields. And the final one is active. So here the default value is true. Okay, now I'm going to start my form design. So if you noted here, I just included this mat form field. Inside that I have the mat label and the mat input. So our first field name is ID. So this value is not required. And this placeholder, this one also ID. And we have this reactive form defined. So let me take this form name. Form group. Okay, great, we have added. Now for the each and every element, we have to include this form control name. Okay, the similar way we have to complete all the fields. And the second one is name. Let me do one by one. So the fifth column is address. For this one, we have used this text area. So let me see the design how it should be. Actually, we are getting this issue. Why? Because we are using this reactive forms. So then we have to import this reactive form model in our app.model. So let me include it. And also one more model is required, HTTP client model, because anyway I'm going to use this HTTP client. Okay, if it's not coming, we have to include manually. Okay, the design is coming, but it's not that much perfect. I'm going to include one small style change here. Okay, now it's somewhat good. Okay, and the final field is active. For that, I'm going to use this checkbox. Okay, this one also done. And then we have to include these buttons. So the first button is for save. Okay, and the second one is for closing the pop-up. So let me provide one anchor tag only, and let me include the directive for the button, mat raised button. and the color should be primary. The similar way I'm going to include the same styles to our close button also. So let me check once again. So it looks good. Now we have completed our design part. Let me move on the service side. So as I mentioned, I am going to use this JSON server REST API. So for installing this JSON server REST API, so first we have one npm command. So already I installed my machine, so it's not required to install in the every application. And the second thing is we have to run our API. So let me copy this command. I'm going to open one more terminal. Okay, great. Our API is running and you can see one file is added, a db.json. So I'm going to use the company. So let me change this post into company, and other two are not required. And this data also it's not required. I'm going to use my own model. Okay, see currently I have only one link. So let me copy this one. So we already created one service. It's available in this shared folder. Okay, great. Here I'm going to define the API URL. And also I'm going to inject the HTTP client. First let me define the getAll method. So return this dot http get this dot API URL. So let me convert into our data model. Observable of and company model, and this is the array. Next I'm going to create the post method for the creating company. So I can return so this dot http the post method. I'm going to use the same URL. So let me pass the data also. Okay, great. First we can complete this create company function. So let me go to the component side. So the component, let me define the function save company. First let me check the form contains the values are valid or not. So this dot company form dot valid. If it is valid only I'm going to consider, and we have to inject our services, then only we can use private API. So our service name is API service only. So this dot API create company and this dot company form dot value. So let me subscribe it. So let me format it. Once it's saved, I'm going to provide the messages saved successfully. Okay, we have done. Now let me include this save company function in this form submit. Save company does not exist. Yeah, I am not saved this one. Now I'm trying to add my first record. So the first field is ID, it's not required. NT infotech. Employee count is 55. Revenue 2500. First street, Chennai. Pin. Okay. And this active, defaultly it's checked, it's fine. So let me click the save button. Okay, I'm getting this message saved successfully. So let me check in our db.json. Okay, see now the record got included. So let me include one more record. So again, I'm getting the same message saved successfully. So let me check here. See now one more record got included. So here the idea is whenever I saved the record, I supposed to close this pop-up and I have to load all the records in our grid. So let me do it. So in this pop-up component, I'm going to create one more function, close pop-up. Okay. So this dot already I have injected the mat dialog. So let me use it. Dialog dot close all. So let me include this one. And also I'm going to include the same function in our close all button also. And the second very important thing is we have to populate the data in our table. So this one I supposed to do the changes in our company component. So let me define the function load company. So here also I supposed to inject our services. So this dot company data equal to the response. So let me format it. I'm going to include this load company in our onload function. And also whenever I'm closing this pop-up, I need to call the same function once again. After closed, so let me call the load company method here also. So we have done. So let me refresh the screen now. Okay, great. The two records are loaded in our grid, and this revenue I'm going to include one of the pipe, so it will give some good look and feel. So the currency pipe, and this employee count I'm going to provide the number pipe. Okay, see the dollar symbol is coming. If you want this Indian currency, the similar way you have to provide your own currency. That is fine. Okay, great. So our second thing is we have to complete this edit and delete functionality. So let me go to the button. Edit company. So here we supposed to pass our ID as the input. So let me copy this one. Okay. So whenever I am clicking this, okay, why I'm getting this error? Yeah, I need to save it. Okay. Whenever I'm clicking this edit button, I supposed to open the pop-up. So we already defined one of the function for opening this pop-up. I'm going to use the same one, and also I'm going to pass the ID. See now, when I'm clicking this edit button, the particular method got triggered. It is going to our open pop-up. So in the open pop-up, we are passing this ID. So I just passed. So now I supposed to get this ID in our pop-up component. For that, I am going to use one of the mat dialog property at inject mat dialog data. So in the page load itself, I am able to get these records. So let me copy it. Here I am going to check not equal to empty and not equal to null. So in this scenario, I have to load the existing data. For that, let me define the function in our service side first. So method name is get company by code, and this is the single object only. Data data type should be any. So the get by code, the similar way I'm going to define two more function. One is for remove, and the return type just void only. Okay, done. And the final one is for the update method. Update company. So it requires two inputs. One is the key field ID and another one is the data. Let me format the URL also. Okay, now we have done our changes in our service side. Let me concentrate on our component side. So this dot data dot. So let me check. Actually, we are passing as the object. Okay. So I have to modify the conditions. This dot data dot ID. Okay, great. So this dot edit data equal to response. Now we have to set the values in our forms. So this dot company forms dot set value. So the first field is ID. So this dot edit data dot ID, and the second one is name. The similar way I'm going to include all the fields. Okay, we have done. So let me save it. We can verify the output. Okay, supposed to use the capital inject. So let me remove it. Okay, fine now. So see now, the existing records are loaded fine. So let me close this one. If I'm trying to click this second edit button, the second records, the ID is true, the data are loaded fine. Okay, now we have to include the changes in our save click. So let me go there. We already added something. Yeah. So we added for the direct post method. Now we are going to do the changes for our update method. So constant ID equal to. Actually, I need to check if I'm already have the values in this ID field, then I will consider this is the update scenario. So the field is disabled. So we supposed to take the value, get raw value. If it is not disabled, we can use this value. For the current scenario, we are supposed to use this raw value only. Now I'm going to check the condition. if edit data not equal to empty and not equal to null, then it is the update scenario, else as our current create scenario. So let me copy the whole content. I just replaced, instead of this create company, I'm going to use the update company, and it requires one more field, that is our ID. Anyway, we already having. Instead of this value also, I'm going to change into get raw value. Add this alert, updated successfully. So let me format it. So data are loaded. Instead of this employee count 55, I'm going to provide something like this. And in the revenue also, I'm going to include 2 more digits. So let me save it. Okay, look like I'm getting some error. Okay, I missed one of the small change. So let me go to the service side. Yes, so this should be a put method. So let me try once again. See, now I'm getting the message is updated successfully. Okay, the pop-up is closed, and see, this employee count also got updated, and here also included 2 more digits. Now let me create one more new record. So a new record is created, and see, it's included in our listing also without refresh. Okay, great. The final one is delete. So let me do that also. In this listing, I'm going to include the function first. Instead of this edit, I'm going to provide a remove. Okay, so let me copy it. So this dot APA remove company by code, and the input is ID. So once it's removed, we have to update in our listing also. Okay, so let me click. See, now the record got removed. So the thing is, if you are implementing this delete function, we supposed to give this confirmation pop-up. So for that, I'm going to use this Ultifi.js. So we can complete this Ultifi.js setup first. So for doing this one, first we have to install this package. Meanwhile, let me stop this application. Okay, the package got installed. Now let me include some CSS in our style.cs file. Now let me create one of the file. So in the file, I'm going to define the model. So once it's done, let me move on the TypeScript.json file. I mean the config file. Here I'm going to include this type root section. So if you noted, the newly created file is just mapped to here. We have done the configuration. Now let me go to our component side. The top of the component, I'm going to include this Ultifi.js. So let me include the same thing in our pop-up component also. So instead of this normal alert, I'm going to use this Ultifi.js. So let me include this alert also. Now let me move on the company side. I mean this company component. Let me format it. Here also Ultifi.confirm. So the first input is header, remove company, and the second one is message. Do you want remove this company? And the third one is callback function. So this is nothing but our OK click, and the final one is the cancel click. So here I'm not going to implement anything. So let me copy the whole content. I'm going to include here. Let me format it. I'm going to rerun the application once again. Okay, now I'm going to create one more record. See, now I'm getting this notification saved successfully, and if I'm trying to update, the same message like updated successfully. Okay, so if I'm trying to click this delete button, so the heading is remove company. Do you want to remove this company? If you click it, so if you click this cancel, nothing will happen. If I'm clicking this OK, it's gone. Okay, and currently we are seeing these three records. So if I'm checking this db.json also, these three records only available. Okay, so now we are almost to complete all the functionalities. So the two features only missing. One is the pagination and another one is the sorting. So let me complete shortly. I am going to copy and include three more records. If I'm creating one by one, it will take some additional time. See, now currently we have the 6 records. Okay, here the first thing is I'm going to implement the pagination. So let me go to the application. So in this company component, so after the table, I'm going to include this pagination. Okay, so here we have the options 5, 10 and 20. If required, you have to include. So let me save it. Okay, it's coming, but it's not mapped with our table. So let me go to the TS side. So in the TS side, I'm going to define one more variable. So after getting our record, so this dot final data equal to new mat data table source, and our data type is company model. So this dot company data, and here, so this dot final data equal to, dot Pagination equal to, we have to define our pagination. For that, I'm going to use this view child mat Pagination. So let me include here, and hereafter, yeah, it's fine. So hereafter, our final data is available in this variable only. So let me change the data source also. Final data not exist. It's not saved properly. Okay, fine. See, now the pagination is applied. We are in the first page. If I'm clicking this one, the second page we have only one record. The similar way I'm going to apply the starting also. So let me copy this one. So instead of this mat paginator, I'm going to use mat short underscore short and mat short. Okay, now let me go to the HTML side. The table, first I'm going to include one directive mat short, and in this th side I'm going to include mat short header. So let me include in this name also. So let me check now. See, now the arrow mark is coming. Now it's in the reverse order. So the similar way, the name also it's working. So currently I have included in the two columns. The similar way we can include all the columns. Okay. Now we have completed our video. Still, if you have any doubts or clarification, please post in the comment box. And also please don't forget to subscribe my channel. If possible, try to join our membership also. Thank you. Thanks for watching.